What's up? So this is for June 11th, 2026. Coming into the morning, I took shorts. I was pretty bearish, or sorry, bullish to start the morning, mainly because on ES we had these relative equal highs here that were just so clear. We generated more buy side in the morning, and overall, because of those, I wanted to see that become quote unquote resistance for retail and for the algorithm to fill low or manipulate and then seek higher price, stopping out all of that liquidity. So, coming into the AM opening, I once again was late to get into price. I was late to wake up. Um, or I woke up, I kind of just sat in bed. I was looking at price on my phone. I was kind of like, this doesn't really look like anything that I even want to get in and look at. But there was one pretty decent setup that presented in the morning that I kind of once again was like, oh, I should have been in because I would have taken that and that would have been a really good trade. But not gonna look at it through a lens of regret, just kind of going over the morning and what we saw happen. So I will actually clear this up. So AM opens 9:30. We move and take this low from the beginning of New York session. So we sweep this. There's an SMT. We have this inverse for value gap. This series of down close candles that we close through, and then we have all of this stacked buy side up here that ends up getting taken on NQ, which I'll mark out here. We see on ES this doesn't get taken. And at this point on NQ, we do see a model to move back short. So we move higher, we take the resting equal highs, we move lower, we move higher again, we sweep out internal liquidity, and then we displace through these for value gaps. Here's the change in the state, and we hold this price here. So once this happens, we have now, where are we at? We've now swept out internal buy side, and there was a couple things I was looking at. So this is the one for value gap that I was noting. It had been untapped until the morning session, to which we moved higher, and this was an OTE of this recent price leg. So we swept out this high, we moved way lower. We didn't take out this low. We did take it out on ES. So there's these lows down here. This for value gap is in OTE of this recent bearish move, and this is where we react. So it's untapped, we react out of it, we take internal liquidity, sell off. So this is at OTE, and then we sell off with intent to move lower. This for value gap is holding. This is our change in the state, and at this point, so that's holding, we have this 5-minute for value gap that has opened. I was wanting to see us come up, take out internal liquidity, and deliver out of this for value gap to move lower towards this sell side and to fill the opening range gap. How I managed this was like this. So on ES, we filled the gap. I closed my position once we filled this gap. Or really, I actually closed it once we took out this stacked liquidity down here. So this was my fill, this liquidity resting down here. So internally, we sweep buy side, sell off, close to the change in the state, close to the inverse for value gap. This is when I take my position. Once we close to the change in the state and we react off of it, my stop is above the inverse, and I close my position at internal liquidity. So the only reason why it was okay for me to be bearish here, despite us having this buy side intact, was because we had already swept it on NQ. We put in a model to move lower, and then we put in an internal model to continue moving lower. So here is recording of opening. This is about 10:30. We can see to the left that there was a model already being presented on NQ where we swept above the high, and in total that could have been a position on its own. I just wasn't confident enough yet. I wanted to see the internal model align with the external to actually move lower. We had a 5-minute and a 15-minute for value gap holding us higher, which I was just being pretty cautious from that regard. But we see me marking this out here. We have the relative equal highs still up top, but price is showing that it is having intent to move lower. So now we started to get this push. We're starting to try to close through this inverse for value gap. And we see the close on NQ, and then we close to the inverse on ES.
Order filled.
So I enter my position right at the change in the state as soon as we close to the most recent series of down close candles and the inverse. So I waited. We didn't get the inverse, or sorry, the change in the state on ES, but we did get a close through the fair value gap. So at this point, we are sitting in the 15-minute fair value gap. This is something that could have held us and shot us higher, but I just had confidence that we were moving lower. We were holding the model that presented above the liquidity, and then we reacted exactly where I would have wanted to see us react, and it sent us lower. As well with this, we did have the opening range gap that really hadn't been filled. We had traded into it a little bit at opening, but I felt really confident in this. I was waiting until this internal liquidity got taken. We see the order block hold here. So we take sell side. Internal sell side, that is. And then at this point, it's really just not about managing your trade. You're just letting it work. You have your model. I type in time to speed up. Price speeds up. Move my stop to break even after we have taken now that low from 9:30 this morning on ES, but not on NQ. Potential SMT could send us higher, but I'm just holding out my position. We see the thicker line on the right. That is the opening range gap close on ES. I have my cursor on the X just to close this out in case we fill the opening range gap on ES, but we don't take liquidity on NQ, because as soon as we fill that opening range gap is when I want to be done with this. But really good delivery on this. I was really patient. I waited for my model. There was a couple of, there was like 2 trades in this morning that I could have taken prior to the one that I took that would have been absolutely A+. But overall, just really, really patient, decent drawn liquidity, good execution. Yeah. We did see earlier, just when I was kind of going over the outline of what I was looking for in the morning, whatever, that price did end up moving lower, and then we shot back up. It took like 5 minutes, like 5 1-minute candles for us to just fire up like a few hundred points, take out the stacked buy side on ES. So overall, I had the right read. Price moved lower to move higher.